So, you're getting close to meeting your baby, and one of the big questions every mom has is, well, when do I actually go to the hospital? No one wants to show up too early or too late, right? Well, in today's video, I'll walk you through all the signs that it's really time to head to the hospital. And we'll talk about some signs that'll let you know that you can keep laboring at home a little longer as well. If you want to know when you should actually be heading to the hospital, then definitely stay tuned. Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Stephanie Poole, your go-to doula and lactation consultant. I'm here to help you feel confident and prepared for birth and breastfeeding. Now, before we start this episode, I have an amazing PDF download for you. It's going to help you pack your hospital bag in 60 minutes or less. So if you're interested in grabbing that download, then definitely stay to the end. All right, so first things first, every labor is unique. Let me pause, let me say that again. Every labor is unique. So that might mean that you may hear stories from friends or family about rushing to the hospital at like the first sign of a contraction. Or you might hear other stories from other friends and family about those who waited at home for a few hours. And both can be totally normal. So let's talk about some of the signs that'll tell you it's time to grab that hospital bag and get going. Let's start with the classic 5-1-1 rule. This is one of the easiest ways to gauge if you're really ready. So here's how it works. If your contractions are at least 5 minutes apart and each contraction lasts around 1 minute, and this pattern has been going on for at least 1 hour, then it's time to start thinking about heading in. So remember, 5-1-1. Now, I want to stress that this rule isn't an absolute must for everyone, but it is a good general guideline. And just a little heads up, the contractions we're talking about here are the real deal, the ones that feel more intense and might even take your breath away. They don't ease up when you change positions or if you start walking around. So if you're unsure if they're real contractions, try moving around because Braxton Hicks or practice contractions often stop when you walk or rest, while true labor contractions, they're going to keep coming. Okay, so the next big sign is your water breaking. For some people, their water breaks at the beginning of labor, and for others, it doesn't happen until much later. If you are 37 weeks or more, and your water breaks, it's a sign to go to the hospital, even if contractions haven't kicked in just yet. But don't worry, it's not always as dramatic as you see in the movies, with the gush of water. Sometimes it's just a slight trickle. So if you're unsure, grab a fresh pad or a towel and see if the fluid keeps coming. If it does, you're probably in labor. All right, this one might sound a bit TMI, but it's totally natural. And that is losing your mucus plug or experiencing what's called a bloody show. This can also be a sign that labor is definitely near. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you need to rush to the hospital right away, especially if you're not contracting. But if you see any bright red blood or heavy bleeding, call your provider just to be safe. Otherwise, just know that this is definitely a sign that things are progressing. Okay, so just so that we're clear, here's a little checklist to keep in mind when you're deciding if it's time to go or not. The first question you should ask is, are contractions regular and strong? That's key. Are your contractions regular and strong? The second question is, has your water broken? And the third question is, are you experiencing heavy bleeding? If your answer is yes to any of these, then it's probably go time. Now, let's talk about when you don't need to rush to the hospital, at least just yet. If your contractions are spaced out, if they're mild, and if they're feeling more like period cramps, then it's totally okay to stay at home for now. At this stage, you might actually feel more comfortable in your own space. So take time to relax, to rest, to hydrate, and snack if you can. This is a great time to get in a good headspace. At home, try some relaxation techniques like taking a warm shower or sitting on an exercise ball or even practicing breathing exercises. This can help you manage early labor and save your energy for active labor. When things really start moving. All right, let's talk briefly about active labor. This is when contractions are intense, they're frequent, and lasting longer. When you hit active labor, you'll know it's time to go. A lot of moms describe it as needing to be fully focused and even having a pause during each contraction to get through it. If that sounds like where you're at, it's definitely hospital time. Now, there are some situations where you should call your provider regardless of the timing. Like if you have any unusual symptoms, things like high blood pressure, headaches, sudden swelling, or a fever. These could be signs of something else and are always worth checking in on. Remember, your provider is there to support you, so don't hesitate to reach out. All right, to recap, if you're following the 511 rule, it's time to go. If your water has broken, head in and call your provider. And last, if contractions are intense and close together, don't wait too long. Trust me, you've got this. Your body and instincts will guide you, and your care team, they'll be there to support you every step of the way. As promised, I've provided a link in the description box below to my free PDF, Pack My Hospital Bag in 60 Minutes or Less. And if you're ready to feel totally prepared and confident for labor and delivery, check out my Bump to Bundle Blueprint course. It's designed to walk you through everything from those last few weeks of pregnancy to birth and postpartum to breastfeeding your newborn. Plus, you'll get tons of tips on how to make your transition into motherhood as smooth as possible. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with any expecting mom who might be feeling a little nervous about knowing when to go to the hospital. Remember, you got this, mama, and I'm here with you every step of the way. Check out my next video here.